Comic book movies have made for some of the most successful films since the turn of the century, but that doesn't mean they were always given the respect they deserve. And sometimes they're still not, to be completely honest. But there's been so many crappy comic book movies out there that it's made this list one of the most difficult I've ever had to work on. So hey, I'm Nervous Nick for Screw Attack's Top 10 Worst Comic Book Movies.
Number 10.
Ryan Reynolds. The man is a geek god for playing such a great Deadpool, but the dude was in some major comic book crap before he got there. You might remember him in X-Men Origins, and you may have seen him in Blade Trinity, but one of his biggest stinkers was absolutely Green Lantern. I still cannot believe this movie came out as recently as 2011 because it feels like something that came out the decade before. Green Lantern is such a generic, by-the-numbers superhero flick that felt dated even when it was first released.
Can I train him? Or can I train him?
Can you train? You trained him for less than 5 minutes, Kilowog. And I'm not talking about 5 minutes of runtime with like a montage or whatever. I mean like literally, you sat down with him for 5 minutes and hogged the credit. And after that oh-so-helpful training session, Hal gave up and pieced out back to Earth right after. Yeah, that was really heroic. And do I really need to point out the cartoon Green Lantern suit he wears? Yeah, I do. Look at it. But hey, maybe the reboot will be better.
Number 9.
2003 may have committed the sin of bringing us the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, but that's easily forgiven compared to the hellspawn that followed, ELEKTRA. Who asked for this movie? Show of hands. Who? Was it you? Was it you watching this movie? Did you ask for 97 minutes of ultra shaky fight scenes, flashbacks every 5 minutes, and crappy CGI that looks like it came out of the Mortal Kombat movies? And look, Jennifer Garner may actually have a little bit of background in doing fight scenes, but she cannot make a fight in a room of floating towels cool. Wait a minute. What is she doing? What is she doing? What is this? No.
Number 8.
If you ever wanted to know if we're truly living in the darkest timeline, don't forget that somebody decided to make a Supergirl movie where 2 creeps try to sexually assault her 20 minutes in. Women in superhero movies are only just now starting to get the respect they deserve, and I can't help but think that trash like 1984's Supergirl are part of the reason it's taken so long. Half of this movie feels like random stuff just happening. A construction bulldozer eats Kara's boyfriend, she fights a monster that's invisible because the studio got lazy, and the bad guy is a witch with the power to... What is happening? I truly don't know what her power is.
Don't look at her.
Was that the best take you got of that line? Are you sure that's the one you want to go with?
No!
Number 7.
Why, hello again, Ryan Reynolds. On the surface, R.I.P.D. sounds like it might have actually been a fun movie. Cop gets killed on the job, teams up with an older guy to become an afterlife cop, and then he tries to get some revenge on the dude who killed him in the first place. But if what you want is Men in Black meets Ghostbusters, you would be better off setting up 2 TVs and playing those movies at the exact same time. R.I.P.D. is cliché the movie. Everything is predictable.
Why would someone make something like that?
Jeff Bridges is Jeff Bridges, Kevin Bacon is as Kevin Bacon-y as ever, and if you thought the third act wasn't gonna end with a blue laser shooting into a sky portal over the city, you are way too optimistic, my friend. But don't worry, these next movies are sure to make you hate humanity.
Number 6.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like if Superman and Lex Luthor made a baby together? No? Too bad. Nuclear Man. Superman 4: The Quest for Peace was a cheaply produced movie that tanked the Superman franchise for almost 20 straight years, thanks in no small part to the plot. One of the worst supervillain origin stories created one of the worst supervillains with the worst supervillain weakness of all time. If Nuclear Man is ever out of direct contact with sunlight for any period of time at all, he completely shuts down. You could beat this guy with an umbrella, or strong enough sunscreen, or, keeping with the theme here, the worst supervillain fight scene ever.
Number 5.
It's not often I leave a movie based on the whimsies of colorful comic book heroics wanting to cry myself to sleep, but the 2015 Fantastic Four movie managed to pull off a miracle. I'm sorry, Fantastic. This film takes its time getting to the superpowers, kind of like that so-so Power Rangers movie. But at least that movie was fun. The only thing more depressing than Fantastic's dreary look and joyless story is that the main cast was convinced that this was gonna be a hit. They walked around Comic-Con the year of the film's release hoping to mingle with all the adoring fans.
And we were like, well, maybe this is a bad idea, we'll get mobbed and it'll be crazy. Right. And not one person noticed us.
I feel so, legitimately bad for them. But I think we can all agree that at least Michael B. Jordan went on to a way better comic book role.
Number 4.
You know, I think it says a lot when a movie called Captain America gets a theatrical release in Europe and not, America. But that's exactly how crappy the production of Cap's first film was. You know how in the comics Captain America was a huge wuss and stole an old man's car?
Would you please pull over the car? I am going to get sick.
Are you okay? Don't leave me out here!
Oh, no wait. Captain America doesn't do that. Listen, you've already seen plenty of bad costumes on this list, and we're not done yet, but Cap is a special case. Look at his plastic ears! The only thing more cringeworthy is when he stole a car a second time in the same movie!
Sharon, could you pull over for a minute? I think I'm gonna be sick.
Are you okay?
If you still need convincing of how bad Captain America is, I found it on YouTube in perfect quality with over 2.5 million views since 2015, and not even Disney has bothered to take it down. Disney! They sued a preschool for having Mickey Mouse paintings on the wall.
Number 3.
Howard the Fricking Duck. Okay, a movie this tone deaf could only come from the mind of somebody like George Lucas. Is it a kid's movie or not, George? Is it for kids or is it for me? 1 minute, Howard's showing off his quack foo. The next, Leah Thompson's pulling a condom out of his wallet. Scientist man acts like an actual cartoon character when you first meet him, but then minutes later, Leah Thompson's just giving Howard a duck erection. Maybe when they decided to rate this movie PG, they meant pretty garbage. Get these duck boobs out of the video!
Number 2.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, it's Catwoman. I successfully avoided this movie for 14 years. 14 glorious years of not witnessing this travesty. Anytime I'd see literally anything related to Catwoman, I would suddenly feel like taking a shower for some reason. And when I actually watched it as research for this very top 10, you better believe I took that shower. I could go on about the horrible soundtrack and how anything that remotely resembles an action scene feels like the editor was smashing his face on the keyboard. And as infamously horrible as Halle Berry's costume was, I think the CGI cats were even worse. Guys, just get a real freaking cat. There is not enough time in the day to fully explain why Catwoman deserves this spot, but I think I'm just gonna let Halle Berry have the final word on this one.
First of all, I want to thank Warner Brothers. Thank you for putting me in a piece of shit, god-awful movie.
It's number 1.
This is one you always forget is based on a comic, but we need to talk about The Mask. I've never done drugs before, but if I did all the drugs at once and then tried to watch Son of the Mask, maybe then I could see what they were going for. Cause I'm sober and I think, could be wrong, but I think I'm meant to laugh at this. There's a guy who gets his face ripped off, then the baby does backflips and does some other stupid stuff. This guy plays Game Boy like a moron. There's sperm that looks like the mask. You get it? It's sperm. Sperm. Son of the Mask is the kind of plotless bombardment of random crap that leaves you emotionally numb after watching it. It's not just the worst comic book movie of all time. Son of the Mask is so bad that it makes all of your personal favorite films worse just for being the same medium as this abomination. Catwoman made me want to take a shower. This movie makes me want to take an acid bath. For our secret number 11, if there's one thing worse than Mondays, it's the Garfield movie. Never mind the semantics with comic strip versus comic book, I don't care. I may never get another chance to burn this movie in a top 10 again, so I'm taking it right now.
So do you have any regrets?
Garfield, maybe?